ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. It is Thursday night. I can't get the days of the week right this week, it seems. I've been thinking all day it's Friday. I was about to say it's Wednesday there. It's Thursday night. It's the 25th of January. Welcome back to the channel. If you haven't already, please make sure to hit like and subscribe. And welcome along to one of our weekly live stream Q&A things. We've not really got a big what a way that would be to kick off the stream, wouldn't it? Oh, thoughts on Vinnie Mac? God, let's not get started. Hello and welcome along to the stream. We are a bit late tonight. It's 9 o'clock. Usually I try and do these about 7, 6-ish. It's been a bit of a busy day today. I've had a few things on. And obviously the presser was today, waiting to see what happened there and all that jazz. So I decided that tonight's the perfect night to go live because we've not done it this week. And I felt empty without the Q&A. So it'll be nice to get it back going tonight. So it's nice to see so many of the regulars in the chat. Nice to see some of the names that aren't as recognisable as well. I always like to have a good crowd in, and that's what matters most. You guys make these streams, and that's what matters most. Tonight we're going to talk about what happened at the Celtic press conference today. We're going to talk about the fact that Brendan Rodgers has confirmed that Matt O'Riley won't be leaving the club in the January transfer window following that story yesterday. And we're going to open up the floor to talk to you guys because here we are, 25 days in to the January transfer window, and still we haven't made another signing on top of Nicholas Kuhn. We have made one signing. There is, 6 days to go in this window. The board look as though they're sitting back and relaxing. Brendan Rodgers did talk about it today, so we will cover his comments, but I think we're all kind of in agreement that it's been a very disappointing window. And does it look as though it's going to change anytime soon? Well, that's open to your interpretation. Hello, good evening. Everybody's saying good evening. Nice to see you. Some of the regulars. Cal, good to see you. Chris, all these names. I'm just scrolling up and down and seeing who's in here. Shall we just get into the nitty gritty then? Shall we go into the main story of tonight? Now let's bring it up on screen to just aid us a little bit. Sorry, I'm looking a bit trampy and greasy and horrible. As I said, it's been a long day. Let's get it up on screen, shall we? Matt O'Riley won't be leaving Celtic this month as Brendan Rodgers reveals Atletico Madrid's bid has been booted out. Brendan Rodgers has confirmed he won't be leaving the club amid the transfer interest from Atletico Madrid. Brendan Rodgers' comments were as follows. Let me just zoom in so you can actually read it. Ignore all the horrible adverts you get on these websites. There was an offer, but Matt is a player we don't want to lose. He won't be going anywhere in January. He's been absolutely brilliant. It's a good testament to what this club can do for a player. He's had his first full international cap. Atletico Madrid is a big club in European football, but he's been a big part of what we're doing here. He's someone that will be here with us for the second part of the season. We don't want to sell. We don't need to sell. We have the value. We have a value of the player, and certainly what has come in for Matt in the time I've been here has been nowhere near the valuation of the player and the quality that he's got. So I think that in this statement and in these words that Brendan Rodgers has chose here, I think that Brendan Rodgers has basically said that once again clubs are way off the mark when it comes to bidding for Matt O'Riley. Now we knew that back in the August window, the September window, when it ended in September and deadline day, we heard that Leeds and Southampton were looking at the player. We heard that Leeds had put in a bid of around £10 million, which was swiftly knocked back by the club. And obviously that's because 10 million was an insulting offer. Have Atletico Madrid offered something around that region, maybe slightly higher than that once again is an offensive offer? It might be, because Brendan Rodgers dubs it nowhere near the valuation of the player. I couldn't care how much money they were throwing at Celtic. I couldn't care how much money it was on the table. We couldn't let him go for any price. If they put 50 million quid on the table, I wouldn't want to see him go. Do you know why? Because we wouldn't spend 50 million quid. It obviously wasn't. And Rangers fans were waiting to clip me. Me saying that Celtic player's worth 50 million? No, I'm not. I'm just hypothetically speaking here, lads, okay? Celtic aren't going to reinvest that money in the correct fashion. Celtic aren't going to build with that money. And ultimately, it doesn't go into our pockets. So why do we care how much money the club's getting, really? He couldn't leave. He is vital to this second half of the season. Very quickly, thank you, Douglas. Hi, Ryan. Thanks for all the continued hard work. Struggle to see this any other way than us getting taken for an absolute ride as fans. Shambles. Thank you for the donation, Douglas. Very much appreciated. It has been a shambles, but I appreciate your comments on the hard work. It is much appreciated. So thank you for the donation. Thank you for your kind words. Yeah, it has been a bit of a shambles, and we'll come on to that. ultimately, people will take this as probably the biggest win of the transfer window. The fact that Matt O'Reilly hasn't left the club as we currently speak. He is a title-winning player. He is a player that is the difference between us and Rangers at the minute. Because, and I say this very openly and very honestly, no one in this league, obviously, and including Rangers in that statement, have a player the quality of Matt O'Reilly. He's the type of player that makes the difference when there's two teams fighting for a league title. He is the best player in this league at this moment in time by miles and miles. Losing him would be detrimental for our charge in the second half of the season to try and retain our Premiership crown. We could not let him go. The bid has been rejected. He won't be leaving the club. Now, people are going to start bringing up, oh, well, he's going to go in the summer. Of course he'll probably go in the summer now. There's no denying that. I don't see any world in which Matt O'Reilly stays with Celtic beyond the summer window. But honestly, you've got to pretty much expect that sort of thing with a player of Matt O'Reilly's quality. You can't hold on to them forever. But what we need to remember is Celtic are in that position of power. They gave him a 4-year deal, a 4-year extension back in only September there. Celtic are in a good position to negotiate, in the best position to get that money out of the transfer. As I said, the fee doesn't really matter to me at this point in time, but come a point, it will matter. And that's going to be great when it comes to the summer. I imagine that they've spoken to him, Brendan Rodgers has spoken to him and said, listen, we'll give you that assurance that you'll be able to leave the club. But the biggest part of the news tonight is the fact that he is staying with us at this moment. We couldn't afford to lose him. So I'm glad to hear that. Let's get some of the points by you guys before we move on to the next couple of things from today's press conference about Matt O'Reilly. O'Reilly staying as great a news as any. Sale of our quality players would be a title suicide, and as our board have no intention of bringing in quality, we need to keep the best players at the club. Absolutely, definitely. Ellen says, fantastic news about Matt O'Reilly. Hail, hail. Of course, I was delighted when I heard that. Listen, I did say in yesterday's video, I knew that he wouldn't go. But the only thing that threw me is our board, the people that control our football club, because I thought if money was there and money was talking, they'd be in his ear going, right, lad, do us a turn and go because we're getting money for you. That was my only fear. I knew that the manager would be standing firm in his position, and I had the utmost confidence he would be staying here at Celtic, despite the stature of the clubs coming in for him. But it's just with those guys running the club and Peter Lawwell being back and all that, that makes you think and makes you second guess, makes you go, is there a chance he actually could leave? Luckily for us, he isn't, so that's good. Oh, thank you, Gary. I don't feel particularly tonight, no, but thank you. If he goes in the summer, who replaces him? That's a question for 5 months' time. Ask Ryan when Matt O'Reilly leaves the club. Right now, I don't want to think of a future without Matt O'Reilly, to be quite honest with you. So let's not consider that at the minute. Here you go. Cal, hello. He says, say in a parallel universe we got offered a swap deal, O'Reilly for O'Black. Would you take it? It's a bit out there. I didn't expect that when I started reading the comment. Would I? No. I wouldn't. I know that Jan Oblak is probably one of the best goalkeepers we've seen in the last decade, but he is getting older, and he's still unbelievable. But I think that there's other goalkeepers out there that we could sign while keeping Matt O'Reilly, if you understand where I'm coming from. So, no, I wouldn't take it. And that might be controversial, because we're talking about one of the best goalkeepers of the last decade. But I guess that's a good thing about it being a parallel universe. We'd never be in that scenario. But interesting question. Even Ryan, glad he's not going. Absolutely, Kieran. And Stephen's saying, Bernardo will replace him. That's why he was brought in. And I think that's, I touched on this in yesterday's video, didn't I? I said this, that I think that Bernardo's the natural heir to O'Reilly's current throne, you could say, and his place in the side. I think that he ideally comes in and joins. This is hypothetically speaking once more, because Rio Hatate could end up leaving the club as well. But if right now our best midfield three is McGregor, Hatate and O'Reilly, if O'Reilly goes, you replace him with Bernardo, logically speaking. But I think you still need to stretch out. You need to go out there and then bring in someone to come in and take Bernardo's place at the same time. I think you need to try and look for another O'Reilly, another player of that kind of standard and that ability to bring into the side. As much as I think Bernardo is a really good and a suitable replacement, I also think that you've still got to add quality in that middle of the park with losing someone as big a player as Matt O'Reilly, if you understand where I'm coming from. So, of course, I'm happy he's staying, but we've already made a replacement in Bernardo with Rio to come back also. Once again, for the summer, that's great, but you just can't afford losing O'Reilly at this point in the season. But I'm glad to see you're happy, Gary, at least. I think that would be. Yes, there is rumours. We talked. It's on the channel. You can go back and watch it. If we want to improve in the Champions League, selling players like O'Reilly is not a good idea. Happy he's staying. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be devastating when it gets to next season's Champions League campaign and Matt O'Reilly isn't here. But it's just the nature of the beast, I suppose, with being Celtic and being in this modern world in football. We can't convince Matt O'Reilly to commit his future to Celtic, even if we have ambition in the Champions League. What is there to back that ambition? Because the board aren't doing it. The board aren't giving Brendan Rodgers the tools to go out and build on those ambitions. So if Matt O'Reilly's not seeing that evidence, we can't convince him to stay when clubs like Atletico Madrid are calling. And that's, as I said, it's the nature of the beast. It's just where we are. And I hate that is where modern football's at, that clubs like Celtic need to suffer and we are behind. But we don't do an awful lot to help ourselves either with the people running our club. And that's the sad reality of it. We'll get back into the Q&A segment in a moment. Brendan Rodgers did talk, so we've been talking about this disappointing window, and we'll talk about this before we get into the proper kind of 10-15 minutes of questions. Brendan Rodgers did talk about that today, the disappointing window, and basically what he's wanting to do for the rest of this window. Brendan Rodgers has insisted that we are doing everything, that the club are doing everything that they can to keep strengthening the side before the end of this transfer window. Brendan Rodgers was asked about the lack of signings and Nicholas Kuhn being the only one. In response, this is what Brendan Rodgers had to say. He said, listen, it's not as easy when you know you're trying to get players in, and I've talked about quality before, and I always will do, because that's the nature of what I want to build here. We have a lot of quality players in our squad currently that are improving and developing, and I want to add more to that. But when you're trying to get quality and when you're trying to add, it's never easy because other clubs don't want to lose quality players. But it's something that, as I said, has continually been worked on, and I hope before this window shuts that we're able to do that. He did go on to say that behind the scenes, the club are working on players, which it's reassuring to hear that apparently behind the scenes that there is something maybe happening. What I got from those comments was Brendan Rodgers essentially saying he doesn't want to sign players for the sake of signing players. He doesn't want to. I think that even if the club and the recruitment team have put players to him that we know are project players, that we know aren't good enough, I think he might actually be saying no at the minute, so that we're not just bringing in pointless signings, wasting money, and basically just adding, more filler to the Celtic squad. And I think that's probably why we have struggled. The fact that real quality that Brendan Rodgers wants isn't available at the minute. Or, scenario B, which is also very likely, the board aren't willing to spend on that quality that Brendan Rodgers wants. It's always difficult, it is, as Brendan Rodgers has touched on. But I'm hoping that before the end of the window, we do make a couple of signings. Because I'm sure there was talk at today's press conference that Greg Taylor's went down with an injury. So there you go straight away. This is what we've been talking about. We don't have a backup left back. I don't think it's a big injury. I don't think he's going to be out for weeks. But this is all it takes. And we've not got a suitable replacement for Greg Taylor. So that quality, as hard as it may be to identify, I'm hoping it's something that Brendan Rodgers and the recruitment team are managing to pick out to the board to go out and sign these players. Apparently, stuff is going on behind the scenes. Apparently, we are trying to make signings, but it's all one big apparently. Brendan Rodgers, he has that look in his face when he's talking to me, and not everybody will agree with this, but he has that look in his face where I feel like he knows he's been sold a dream by this board that have brought him back into the job. I think that he came in the understanding that he was going to be able to do things, but we've heard the same thing for months, that the quality's going to be brought in, this, that, and next thing, that everything's changing. And in his first press conference, he said that the selling point of coming to the club was the fact that the board promised all of this. And now we're sitting here now, and when he speaks, I kind of get this sense from him that he knows he's been lied to, and he needs to come out and say certain things. But that's all opinionated, that's all speculation. I can't say that is or isn't the case for a definite. I just get that vibe from some of the things that get said at certain press conferences. And the fact that we are saying the same thing time and time again every time we come on to talk about transfers. But that was the two main takeaways from today's press conference at Lennoxtown. Matt O'Reilly will not be leaving the club in this window. Brendan Rodgers is looking for the right player, and apparently work is getting done behind the scenes. We're looking to add quality, but it is the 25th of January. There is 6 days left in the window. Celtic need to move now. That's a fact. And if we leave it too late, ultimately, we are gambling a league title. We are gambling a position of strength. And we are gambling the chance to keep that top dog status in Scotland this season. So the board need to realise that. Brendan Rodgers realises that. And the manager needs to back on that. That's pretty much it for the news. So I think that we can kind of go into questions, answers, and have a bit of a laugh, a bit of fun with what you guys want to talk about. So as you know, at this point in the stream, get your questions fired in, and we'll get through them. There we go. I had to just click something there. I thought it said my mic was disconnecting, and yeah. Anyway, right, let's go to where are we starting tonight. Let's get questions. Let's get left back on loan is my optimistic prediction. Yeah, a lot of people feeling like we're now into that period of the window where last minute loan deals are going to be the solution. And honestly, would you be surprised? No, I wouldn't. That is the nature of how we like to run as a football club. Woohoo! Yay! Cal saying in most windows, Angle was fairly bad. Cut Angle. Angle who? In most windows, Angle was fairly backed, and Rodgers went. Oh, do you mean Ange? You mean Ange, don't you? You mean Ange? Oh, that fucking Kurt Angle was in charge of us there. It's true. Oh, it's damn true. In most windows, Angle was fairly backed, Ange. In Rodgers' windows, he wasn't really backed. How much difference can one guy make? I think there's so much to it that would take a whole video to go through, and rather than just answering a simple question, I think there's layers. I think there's honestly layers to where everything comes in, and there's a lot to do with numbers and statistics, and I think there's just so much to it. I don't even know where you'd start. I think that Ange really tickled the board's fancy for coming in and signing, players from these other leagues where they weren't costing as much money and stuff, and that, boded well. But here we are. There's so much to unravel from that. I am having to skip down the chat a bit, so if you really want me to answer a specific question, just keep putting it in. No point in rushing and getting the wrong player, says Twizzler. Yeah, there's obviously an element of that. There is absolutely an element of that. It's spot on, Twizzler, but we are running out of time, and surely the recruitment team have got to identify players by this stage of where we are now. It surely doesn't take that long. Because it's ridiculous. Striker Ryan, and a good one. Celtic normally have 2 good strikers. Should have kept Yakimakis at time. I can't even bother talking about Yakimakis. But yeah, we need a striker, absolutely. Ryan, do we need a goalkeeper? To me, we do. Joe Hart is shite. Listen, he's no shite. He's problematic, to say the least. We do need a new goalkeeper. That's something that will be addressed in the summer. 100%. It doesn't need addressed right now. I think that Joe Hart is more than suitable and good enough to win your league title. But that's slowly slipping away from him. I would have liked a goalkeeper ideally, but I understand that that's one that's on the back burner for now. We do need a keeper though, and I would absolutely want one in the summer. Hi Ryan, how are you watching the Royal Rumble this weekend? Who do you think will get any surprises? And maybe Hulk Hogan will appear. Hopefully we sign some players on deadline day. Yeah, I'll be watching it. Of course I will. I'll be watching it, and I think there'll be a few surprises, to tell you the least. The biggest being CM Punk winning. Ryan, I have heard you say before you love Kelleher to come in as a keeper based off what? He's done very little for a 25-year-old professional keeper. He's good. He's undeniably good. He's a good keeper. I know he's not done loads. He's been a backup for fucking Liverpool at the end of the day. But this is the thing, right? And it's not that this is my point, Gary, about Kelleher. Honestly, cards on the table, I couldn't give a fuck if it's Kelleher or not. I really couldn't. I'm not that bothered. But the reason time and time again I've said I would like Kelleher is because I don't know any other goalkeepers out there that Celtic are realistically going to sign. That isn't my job. I'm not a scout. I watch football. I watch what football's available to me. And I'm here to give an opinion on the ones we get linked with. I don't know a lot of goalkeepers outside of the British Islands and maybe the Bundesliga and the top 5 leagues. And obviously, all of those keepers, none of them are going to come to Celtic. So we do need to shop in other markets. And Kelleher's just a name that we all kind of know. And that's probably the reason why I wouldn't be bothered with Kelleher coming in, because I don't know many other options, really. So it's not I'm desperate to see Kelleher sign. It's absolutely not the case. But, you know, I wouldn't knock him back, ultimately. Right, Helen Jota's, so Jota's apparently on the move, isn't he? He's desperate to leave Saudi Arabia, as far as the understanding is. West Ham are looking to sign him, and I think a couple of other clubs, as you've mentioned as well, looking at him. A real gutter, real gutter. People will say Celtic should ask the question. Give it up, it's not going to happen. I think as much as Jota loved the club, as much as Jota was a fan favourite, and I loved him, one of my favourite. I mean, he's still up there. Christ, he's been gone for months, and he's still in the background of every fucking video I do. I love him. But the thing is with Jota is, clubs like West Ham and Premier League teams and other clubs across Europe coming in from now, there is an actual chance for him to advance his career. He's not going to regress it back to Celtic. So people will keep going, oh, Celtic should put a word in. It's not going to happen. It is a gutter, though. It is. And thanks for making me sad, Helen. Thank you. Let's see. God, a lot of things coming in. My God. Kelleher played in the Carabao Cup final, to be fair to him. He's not a bad keeper by any means. The Celtic guy, hi Ryan, hope you're well. How many signings do you think we'll make in this? We need in the summer? Oh God, it's a bit early because we don't know how many people are leaving yet. But I'd come out and say 5 already, to be quite honest with you. I agree with Smell the Glove. He's definitely not a 20 million. 20 million my arse. Yes, I 100% agree with that sentiment. He's not a £20 million goalkeeper. If you were talking, 4 or 5 million, then, I'd go for it. How much would that take for O'Reilly? 100 million quid. Simple as that. Kelleher no, says Fishing Stevie. A couple of people against Kelleher, which that's fair enough. I'm not sitting here disputing it. I think Kyogo will stay in the summer. Yeah, I think Kyogo's here till the end of his contract. I don't see him. He's coming. He's pushing 30. The boat has sailed for him in terms of a big move. He loves it here. He loves Celtic. He loves the fans. He's here to the end of his contract. I'm convinced of that. We signed Kyogo at that age where, by the time he has a couple of good seasons, people aren't going to be willing to go out and spend money on someone up in Scotland at that age that's better than a Celtic. That's no offence to Kyogo. It's not at all great. I'll happily watch him stay. I know he's not had the greatest campaign this season. Do you think that World War 3 will start? Stupid and random question. Do you know what? I'm not going to get into it because this is a Celtic channel and I want to keep things upbeat. I don't want to say, but do you know what's crazy? The fact that we're sitting in a live stream and that's actually that's a possibility. You know what I mean? I never thought I'd see the day where we're sitting doing a live stream in the live chat going, yeah, World War 3 could happen. It could. I hope not. But we'll keep that for the politics channel if we ever start it. Don't worry, Ellen. It's fine. I'm over it quickly. It's okay. Kelleher at 25 sorts the goalkeeper position for the next 10 years, in my opinion. 20 million is 2 million a year. No brainer. Wow. So you would pay the 20 million, Kaiser. That's interesting. The thing is, would he stay that long? And, stuff like that. How do I get my eyes looking nice? Oh, don't bother. They're not. But thank you. Yes or no to Shanklin? No. I've always been in the no. And listen, I'm not like no to the point where I'm not listening to your case for it being yes. I'm not saying that it's like pure bitter no from me, but it's just a personal no. I just think it's not the route to go down. I know people go, oh, he scores goals in Scotland. Yeah, I know, but he's also been a bit of a purple patch player in his career as well. Like, he's played for so many clubs up here, and he's not done that well at some. Like, when he was at Aberdeen and when he was at, was it Ayr? He didn't do too well at as well, I think. Dundee United, he was hot and cold at times as well. I've got a really itchy nose all of a sudden. Pardon me, I feel like I'm just rubbing away. That sounds wrong. Rubbing my nose. Well, listen, times have changed. Then to compare anybody with Henrik Larsson is just blasphemous, really, isn't it? There's only one Henrik Larsson. There's a reason Barcelona signed a 32-year-old Henrik Larsson. It's because Scotland will never see a player of that quality ever again. Because he was far, far beyond the ability of anybody in Scotland and anybody ever since. So it's not going to happen with anybody else going to Barca at 32. Let's see. What else? Where is it? I banged him in the air. Sorry, man. But who else was he at? Sorry. Listen, people are like, oh, he banged him in the air. There was a couple of clubs. Was it Dunfermline he was at? Shankland. There's a couple of clubs he's been to and he's not done really well. I'm not... Listen, I don't fucking hold me at ransom here. Dunfermline. He was... Well, it was alright at Dunfermline. Aberdeen, pish. Dunfermline, nah. St Mirren, pretty pish. Really pish, actually. Morton, pish. Ayr, done really well, to be fair. Sorry, I picked the wrong one. Dundee United, done okay. Pish in Belgium. I'm not trying to create I'm not that strong emotioned on it. So I don't even know why I'm bothering, really, to be honest. Let's see. Thoughts of Scott Brown at Ayr. Wish him the best of luck. Hopefully Pap Rangers at the Cup. Simple as that. But I do actually wish him the best of luck. Hope he does well. What's your opinion of Miovski for 6 million? Absolutely not. No, 6 million for Miovski. Nope. Don't care how much people would say they'd want him. Absolutely not. There we go. I've got... Oh, Smeldigov's always got my back. What a guy. Love that. What are we on? 26 minutes. So we've got time for a few more questions. If World War 3 starts, we'll beat them at a game of football. If World War 3 starts, Rangers will win the league. So stadiums will be shut again, won't they? So, hey, throwing shade. Ooh, it's a joke. Fucking hell. Oh, I'd have a laugh nowadays. Hi Ryan, you alright buddy? Delighted to see Matt is staying. I think the fans would have went nuts if he was to be let go with this poor window there. Yeah, I could have seen it really not going down well in the grounds, outside the grounds. I think it would have been an absolute disaster. Archie, thank you from Argentina. Wow. What a place to... I don't think I've had many people come in the chat being from Argentina. I'm watching in Argentina. That's great. Hola. Buenos dias. Or noches. Whatever time it is. I don't know. Spanish isn't my strong suit, to be fair. Do we think yes, we should be the favourites. Ryan 118 says World War 3's on the colours, Daily Mail. Print that tomorrow. Print that. I don't buy into all of it. Listen, if it happens, it happens. You know? Do you know who we need? We need Trump. That's who we need. We need Trump back. He died like a dog. Need him. This war wouldn't happen if I was in charge. I was good friends with Vladimir Putin. Yes, Dunfermline. Listen, good pals with David Buick, massive Dunfermline fan. Aye. Didn't expect to be talking about Dunfermline that much tonight. Let's see. Will you be going to war, Ryan? No, I'll give it a pass, thanks. I think I'll wear a wee white flower, you know, the conscientious object. Listen, I'm a pacifist. I think I'm a pacifist, you know. John Lennon's my idol. War is over if you want it and all that jazz, you know. I'm a socialist, man. You know, I'm not going to war. I'll sit here and work in the factories. God, we shouldn't joke about it, really. We shouldn't, because next thing you know, wake up tomorrow and we're all turned to fucking ash. That's the last thing we need. Donald to sort it. Exactly. Get Donald in January. That's who Celtic need. Donald Trump. Get him in the club. China. Two certainties in the near future: World War 3 and penalty to Rangers. You know what's going to happen, man? The first bomb will be dropped. Penalty Rangers. That'll be what happens. Me job in the shipyard, so hey, thanks. Thank you. Right, I'm going to wrap it up there tonight before we get carried away with all the World War 3 chat. Jesus. I hope you've enjoyed. If you have, please make sure to like and subscribe. If you've not seen the whole thing, you can watch it back in video form as well. But thank you, everybody, for tuning in. It's been a pleasure. We should be back tomorrow with a match preview and an update on any news that might break. Hopefully it's a bit of a busy day, but we'll need to wait and see. But until then, thanks for watching. I'll see you all next time.